you guys, today is a video, let me tell you. I did not expect to explain this type of situation. I swear some of the things that I experience and hoops that I have to jump through are none other. They are things that a lot of people don't experience, and I have quite the stories to tell in my lifetime, and honestly, if I wasn't the one living them, and I wouldn't even believe myself if I wasn't living them and seeing this play out firsthand. I'm just trying to comprehend it all, and you're probably like, what is going on? Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to FunsizedStyle. I totally messed up my intro. I meant to say, hi guys, welcome back to my channel, and you're watching FunsizedStyle. There we go. I am just kind of flustered today. I have so many thoughts that I want to share, and as I mentioned, didn't expect to be sharing this or needing to share this or experiencing this complication. If you followed the saga of getting my bone-anchored hearing aid approved by my health insurance, you'll know that one of the previous videos that I filmed was that it finally got approved by my health insurance, and you can watch that saga. I'll have it linked down below and in the iCard. But so that's been a whole saga that is now over with. The insurance approval is good and it's all good to go. Like, my insurance doesn't have anything to do with this process now. It is totally in the hands of the hospital. So after it got approved, I was waiting for the surgery itself to get scheduled. For it to be scheduled. And when I filmed the video explaining that my bone-anchored hearing aid did get approved, I had not yet found out a surgery date, and I explained that in the video. And so I do have a date now. However, it is far, far away, in far away land, as they say. I think my jaw may have hit the floor when they told me this, because I was so caught off guard by what they were telling me. And like, I still to this day can't believe, I don't know, I guess I should have known, because it's like nothing is ever simple. I guess it's because after I got the insurance approval, I was like, oh good, like, because you know when like something's so close, like you feel like you touch it, like that's how that's where I'm at with this bone-anchored hearing aid. Like, I feel like I am so close. Like, this has been like almost a year-long process, and I'm so close. Like, I feel like I can touch it, and yet it's like still, like, I'm like, okay, the approval, like, now we're there, like, I'm almost there, I'm almost to the operating room, like, I almost have this device in my head, like, I can touch it, I can feel it. And now the letdown. This is where I will into all of that and what I mean by letdown, and it's still so far away, and it is no longer within arm's reach. I am still getting the bone-anchored hearing aid. I just have another complication to work through. So, as I said, when I filmed the approval video, I did not know a surgery date. The surgery scheduler was out of office for the whole week, so I didn't find out until, and then the day that she came back that I was supposed to find out, she didn't call me back. So I didn't find out till that Tuesday, or it might have even been Wednesday. And this is when she told me the date, is when my jaw, I think, hit the floor. As of this moment, when I'm filming this video, my bone-anchored hearing aid placement surgery is not until January 12th, 2022. 2022. Next year. And I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh my gosh, are you kidding me? And I felt bad saying that, because obviously with all the hoops that I've jumped through with this insurance approval, I'm just grateful that I'm able to get it at all. So I felt bad saying that, but out of the 27 surgeries that I've had, I've never, ever been scheduled out that far in advance, like that far away. Now granted, most of the surgeries that I've had have been time sensitive for the most part. I've had a few that are more like considered elective, that I've had to wait like max like a month, maybe 2 months. I think 2 months is like the max usually that I've ever had to wait. I've never had to wait more than 2 months from when we decided to do the surgery until, you know, from the time it was scheduled. So that was like the max is 2 months that I've ever had to wait, I believe. And again, granted, most of my surgeries have been pretty time sensitive for the most part. Like, obviously, if I have any hardware coming loose out of my body, or like in my childhood when if I had a severe enough fracture that needed surgery, obviously that gets put to the priority. So most of my time I have been in the time sensitive category, and I understand that surgeries have to be prioritized, and so I understood that fully, and I still understand that fully. But again, the max I've ever had to wait when I have fallen in the few times that I have fallen into the more elective category, the longest that I've had to wait is 2 months, I believe. And so when she told me January 2022 and I have to wait 4 months, I just about fell to the floor because something just didn't make sense. And the scheduler told me, yeah, like she's booking really far out right now. That was the next available, and that still didn't make sense to me because this surgeon who's placing my bone and good hearing aid has done my revision, or has done my tympanomastoidectomy and my revision tympanomastoidectomy. And when I've had both of those surgeries, she normally schedules surgeries very quickly. It's patients scheduled for surgeries very quickly. You know when you just said something isn't adding up and there's a missing piece to whatever you're being told? Like, I was kind of getting those vibes. It just didn't make sense to me based on previous experience, and obviously I understand that, the 2 surgeries that she did do for me, again, I did fall into the more time-sensitive category. The revision tympanomastoidectomy was not so much of a time-sensitive. My original tympanomastoidectomy, but not the revision, and so, but even then, I only had to wait 2 or 3 weeks, I believe. I remember telling my parents both times that I was like, wow, I've never had a surgeon schedule surgeries as quickly as she does, and so that was another piece to me that made no sense. I was like, why right now is it so far out? I messaged my surgeon on the patient portal and directly because I just wanted to know, like, what maybe your schedule is this far, but I know based on previous experience I've never had to wait 4 months for a surgery. And so I was just wondering, like, is there some kind of issue, complication? And I'll get into what she told me in a minute. So from the time I'm filming this is about 4 months away that I have to wait it, and I am on a cancellation. So before you comment, see if you can be put on a cancellation list. That was one of the first things that the surgery scheduler did tell me. However, there is issues with that as well, and I'll get into that. So I really love my surgeon. She's super easy to get a hold of, and sometimes the scheduler will tell me when I was having that pain in my ear and everything before my mastoidectomy, like if I needed an appointment sooner, like sometimes the scheduler would say like, oh, we can't get you in for another month. But then I would message my surgeon and she would get me in within like the next week. And so she's really easy to get a hold of, and I knew that if there was any way that I could find out what was going on, I knew that getting to her directly, like she would tell me. So this is a very complicated issue, so I will try to explain it to the best of my ability. So my surgeon, it says online that she treats pediatrics and adults. However, she pretty much only operates on the adult side of the hospital, so the children's hospital where I have all my surgeries based on, I've explained this a bunch of times, I should just do a separate video as to why I receive some care at a pediatric hospital, because I just feel the need to repeat this so much whenever I come into a situation like this because it is so unique. But I still have my surgeries at pediatric hospital. When I turned 21, because this children's hospital goes until you're 21, and you typically transfer over to adult care. My otolaryngologist, like I said, she treats pediatrics. Obviously, not all care is transferred over if the provider cares for pediatrics and adults. And so, but she typically only operates on the adult side, and I don't know if I mentioned this, but the pediatric hospital is connected to the adult hospital. And so the reason that I have my surgeries still at almost 23, my birthday is next week, or this coming week when you're watching, on September 23rd. 23, my golden birthday, yes, by the way. Turning 23 on the 23rd. At only 23 years old, still having surgeries at a pediatric hospital because I first had to have my first surgery when I turned 21. I think it was actually with my otolaryngologist. Like, that's when I had my original tympanomastoidectomy, and we were trying to coordinate that because it was going to be, I had 21, so we just assumed it was going to be my first surgery on the adult side. That's where she operates anyways. When that time came, the anesthesiologist team over at the adult hospital was like, you know, like, since Michaela's case is so unique and she is so small and she's had dozens of surgeries over at the Children's Hospital, we feel like it would be best if she just had the surgery, kept her surgeries over there. Anesthesia for a patient my size is very different. Oh, I shouldn't say very different. I know nothing about anesthetics. It's different for adults than it is for pediatrics. From then on, like, we just always had my surgeries still over there because obviously, I mean, they could do it if I was in medical emergency or had to go to the emergency room and have emergency surgery or something like that. Like, they're totally capable. They are one of the best hospitals in the nation, but obviously, like, that's just what they felt was best. That's just always been, obviously, I want to be with a team that is familiar with me and is 100% confident. Confidence in healthcare is something that is so important to me, and so I totally get where they're coming from, and I appreciate their honesty. The issue lies this time. There must be some kind of administrative shift in the surgery department. This is the only thing I can think of that I'm not being told, because my surgeon explained to me that something about finding space for an empty OR room for a couple of hours for her to come over and surgery at the pediatric hospital. That was the next availability. I don't know if it's because they have to add my surgeon onto the schedule on top of the already obviously full schedules that pediatrics, like strictly pediatric surgeons have, that they can't operate on the adult side. Like, they have to treat these kids and then add an additional surgeon that's not typically there onto the schedule. We've never had this issue. Like, she's operated on me twice over there now, and like I said, I've always been able to get in the next week or two. So this 4-month thing is like totally throwing me for a loop. If I was able to have it on the adult side, I could have it like in the next couple of weeks. And it's just so frustrating that because I need to be at the pediatric hospital that I have to wait 4 months. But if I could have it on the adult side, I could literally have it within like a couple of weeks. I don't know, there's gotta be some missing piece of information that I'm not being told, because we've never had this issue. Like, she's never had this issue. So she was gonna get back to me. I don't know. I mean, obviously, like, I know that the surgery could not be further from elective. Like, I know it's very elective, but like, I feel like a 4-month wait period for a surgery is like Canadian healthcare status. I'm sorry if you live in Canada, but that's how it is over there. Like, you wait months and months and months for simple things, and obviously it's kind of getting more that way here in the US, unfortunately, but this is a whole new level. Like, 4 months for a surgery, that just seems unheard of. I've never heard of anyone having to wait 4 months for a surgery. I've heard of people having to wait that long to see a new doctor, or like if you're a new patient of somewhere, but I've never, at least here in the US, heard of anyone, or anyone that I know personally, has had to wait 4 months for a surgery. Even the ones that are incredibly. So I'm struggling with how far do I go to figure out what's going on, or do I just trust in the process? And obviously I know God has a plan, and His timing is perfect, even though it is really frustrating to wait sometimes. And I know I go over this time and time again, but you guys know whenever I face these frustrating times, I always come back with another video, and I'm like, the sovereign, like, He provides. And so I know I've seen that too many times to not believe, and so I know that, but this is something that I struggle with the most as like an advocate, is faith. It's like, what level does God want me to go to advocate, but then also just let it go and trust in the process, because so much in our world we just want God to fix everything, and we're like, God is good, like He will take care of us and He will provide and do all these things, but God also put us here on the earth for a reason. And all these tough times that we're going through, like right now there's so much brokenness in this world, and we're like, everything is so messed up, and so many things that need fixing, and like all these things, and we're like, God, like, where are you, and can't you just fix it? We pray for these miracles, but it's like, God wants us to do our part. I know that for a fact, and so I struggle with, and that's why so many things in this world are broken, and it's not because of God, it's because we have sat back long and allowed these things to happen, because He put us here on this earth for a reason, and for such a time as this. And so I struggle with, at what point do I, quote, let it go, but I also, like, at what point do I advocate? Because like I said, He doesn't want us to just sit on the couch all day and just expect him to give us all these things or provide all these things when he expects us to do what we can for ourselves. That's where I always struggle, and I think I've mentioned that before, but I just I'm struggling extra with this because I'm like, well, maybe it is supposed to be January 12th. Like, maybe that is when God wants me to have this. But then I'm like, I don't know, like, I know there's so many times in this world where I've been pushed around by the system, and if I didn't advocate, then I would be continuing to be pushed around, and I know God doesn't want me to be stumbled over, and yeah, I know He wants me to do what I can for myself. You know, obviously He is fully in control, like, no matter what level, or how long this takes. Like, ultimately, like, I just have to trust that, like, He's in full control no matter how far I'd advocate. But that's just something that I struggle with, and I'm like, well, maybe it is supposed to be January 12th, but then I go back to, well, there's still something that's not making sense. I've been through the system, and the healthcare system, especially right now, is so broken. It is so broken. That's a whole other video for another time. January 12th, 2022, asked how many people are on the cancellation list. I've never been on a cancellation list before. I'm curious as to how it works, like, and especially for some this far out, like, I don't know. So I'm waiting for a call back to find how many people are on this cancellation list. Ultimately, like, unfortunately, we are in cold flu COVID season, so I imagine, like, people are ultimately going to cancel, especially if it's on the pediatric side, because kids get sick a lot, and so I hate to say that, like, I hope nobody needs to cancel, but unfortunately, that's just the nature of the beast this time of year. If there's like 100 of us on this list, I am just going to assume that January 12th, because there's no way that 100 kids are going to need to have their surgeries canceled. Like, that's just not realistic. And then I'm like, well, my surgery is super elective, so at what place am I considered on this cancellation list? And it's just insane, and I'm still trying to process the fact that it's 4 months away. I just feel like this is Canadian-style healthcare year, and it's only because I need it at the pediatric hospital. And if I could have it on the adult care, on the adult side, I could literally have it within a couple weeks. And so that part is just really frustrating. They could do it. Obviously, like, I want to be with a team that knows me and is familiar and has 100% confidence. Like, I don't want any ifs, ands, or I don't know. Full confidence when it comes to healthcare. Also be my first time since my spinal fusion surgery coming off the vent after the surgery is over, because as you guys know, I was intubated for 24 hours after my spinal surgeries because the surgery is so long. Now granted, the surgery is only an hour and a half, so I'm gonna do just fine. I've never had any complications. Extubated ever. Willing to wait until January 12th because I want things to go well if that's what it takes. And I'm not saying it wouldn't go well on the adult side, but you guys know what I mean. Like, I feel like I've explained that pretty well. I'm trying to process that it's January 12th, 2022. Told me that I wouldn't get my bone anchored hearing aid until 2022. I think I'm just laughing right now because I'm like, if you don't laugh, you'll cry. I want these medical processes to be over for a while, and it's just like so close. And now this. And so I don't even know anymore, you guys. But as it stands, it's January 2022. So here I am, stuck in the middle of our broken system. Again, waiting my turn very impatiently because I am very excited. This completely changed my life. It really, really will. And I'm so excited. And I was so close, and yet now I feel so far. But I know that it will happen in God's timing, and I will continue to advocate in the best way that I know how. And then from there, pray, hope, and wait. I don't think I mentioned this in the video yet, but one other aspect is there is some level of financial incentive for me to have this done before January, and that is my insurance out-of-pocket maximum starts over in January, as I'm sure it is the case for all of you. I don't want to start out the year with a bang with a really expensive surgery when I have put so much money, like co-pays and all that, with my surgeries this year. So I've spent a lot of money on healthcare, so it would be nice to have all of that in here, because in 2022 I don't have anything crazy anticipated. Obviously, like, my back surgeries are done and all of that, so like nothing big that I know about. Like, obviously with your health, like, anything can happen at any moment's time, but the state of our healthcare, you have to somewhat predict what your healthcare or what your health situation is gonna look like, and that's just not realistic. And like none of us plan what our health is gonna be in a year. Like it can change on a dime. I mean, obviously, I do it in 2022 if I need to. Like it's not that big of a deal, but it would just be nice and one less thing, you know. But yeah, I guess that's pretty much it. I don't really know where to. I don't know really what my next steps are, other than what I already mentioned. I just wanted to keep you posted that it won't be until next year, until further notice, January 12th, 2022. If I get any updates, I will be sure to let you guys know. Thank you so much for watching this video, and please be praying that, by the grace of God, that I will receive a cancellation and have my surgery at a sooner date, and able to receive this gift that will completely change my life, greatly improve my quality of life. I know that God will provide, and I know that He hears your prayers. He heard your prayers such a big way this year, and I thank you guys enough. Thank you for always showing up for me, for encouraging me, and praying for me. Thank you guys again for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.